Good day, Mr. Versosa. Good day, Diocese of Zamboanga. We are Group 3, and we are here to present the different forms of business organization. Before we start, let me ask you all a question. What comes to your mind when you hear the word business organization? We may think about the process of the business, how does the business works, or the owners that is running the responsibility for the business. That can be, or we can also think about the main purpose of the creation of the business. You know, these three ideas are the one that is composing the business organization. So let's proceed and define business organization. Business organization is defined as a term that describes how businesses are structured and how their structures meet their goals. In general, businesses are designed to either improve the society or generate some profits. Just like what I said earlier, businesses are process or business organization is a process or structure that help every business owner to be closer to their objectives. And also, this is a way of strategy of different owners to further improve or promote their own businesses. But let's be clear that this is just the start of our discussion. And this is just the minor information that we all know about business organization. So without further ado, let's dig in and proceed to our main topic or agenda this lesson, which are the different forms of business organization.
Specifically, sole proprietorship. So, what is sole proprietorship? Sole proprietorship are businesses owned by one person, usually the individual who has day-to-day responsibility for running the business. Sole proprietorship are the businesses owned independently by one person, and that person or the owner is responsible in running all the necessary operations for the business to run smoothly. Sole proprietors can be independent contractors, freelancers, or home-based businesses. Some examples of sole proprietorship businesses are independent contractors, which includes plumbers, wedding organizers, some independent attorneys, and accountants. Freelancers, which includes photographers, videographers, makeup artists, and the like. And home-based businesses, which includes sari-sari stores and other online stores such as Instagram, Facebook, Shopee, and Lazada Shop. Now, let's move on to advantages of the sole proprietorship business. Number 1. The owner receives all the profits. Since the owner is the only one responsible for all the operations the business needs, they directly get all the profits the business makes. Number 2. Profits are taxed only once. Since the owner directly gets all the profits of the business, those profits only underwent one transaction, which is from the consumer and to the business, so it can only be taxed once. Number 3. It is the easiest and least expensive form of ownership to organize. It is the easiest, for you have the freedom to choose what are the items you want to sell or what are the items you want to sell. And it is the least expensive form of ownership to organize since it requires less paperwork and legal documents to run. Since we have our pros, let's move on to the cons or disadvantages. Number 1. Unlimited liabilities if anything happens to your business. Your personal assets are at risk. It means that your business has unlimited liabilities, and those liabilities will be passed on to you that can affect your personal assets. Number 2. Limited in raising funds and may have to acquire consumer loans. Since your business's assets and liabilities are also your personal assets and liabilities, you have limited funds to raise your business and you may have to acquire consumer loans. Number 3. No separate legal status. This means that your business is not a separate entity from you, and all the legal actions your business did or is doing will fall under your name. I hope you learned something about the sole proprietorship business. Now let's move on to the next topic.
Partnership. In a partnership, two or more people share ownership of a single business like proprietorships. The law does not distinguish between the business and its owners. To make it easy for you to comprehend, partnership only means that two or more people will be handling the business. However, just like the sole proprietorship, partnership business organization also has advantages and disadvantages. For the advantages, separate legal status to give liability protection, profit task only once, partners may have complementary skills. To furthermore explain each advantages, partnership will be accountable for their own responsibilities and liabilities, will pay personal income taxes on their business revenues just once, and indicates that they have different talents that they are excellent at, such as communicating and being resourceful. And for the disadvantages, profits must be shared with partners, divided decision making, and the business can suffer if the detailed partnership agreement is not in place. To elaborate on the disadvantages of partnership business organization, in the first disadvantage, no matter how much income they will make, they will have to share it. And for the second one, it is the designation of task on who will be in charge in this specific type of task. And lastly, if the business does not comply with the rules and regulation or laws, then the business might go down. Now, let's proceed to the last and third part of the business organization, which is corporation.
A corporation, sometimes called a C Corp, is considered by law to be a unique entity because it is separate from those who owns it. Here are some well-known corporation businesses here in the Philippines: San Miguel Corporation, Ayala Corporation, Petron Corporation, and the most famous Jollibee Foods Corporation, founded by the successful Filipino businessman Tony Tan Caccion. Corporations can make a profit, pay tax, enter into contractual agreements, and can be held legally liable. One advantages of a corporation business is that they offer the strongest protection to its owners from personal liability, because corporation ensures that a loss or incident that occurs in the business doesn't affect the owner's personal finances and assets. The corporation has a life of its own and does not dissolve when ownership changes. And lastly, owners can easily access their capital. However, there are also disadvantages in this type of business. It is time-consuming because they have to go through extensive paperwork to properly determine and document the details of the organization and its ownership. They are subjected to double taxation, which means that the business income is taxed at the entity level as well as the shareholder level. And finally, the cost to form a corporation is higher than other structures. There are three types of corporations to be presented in the next slide.
So here are the three types of corporation. The first one is the C Corporation, a corporation that is tasked separately from its owners. A C Corporation or C Corp is a legal structure for a corporation in which the owners or shareholders are tasked separately from the entity. C corporations, the most prevalent of corporations, are also subject to corporate income taxation. The second one is the S Corporation. It is also known as subchapter, offers limited liability to the owners. Forming an S corporation lets you enjoy the limited liability of a corporate shareholder, but income taxes as if you were a sole proprietor or partner in a partnership. The owners pay individual income tax only on money they receive from the corporation as salary, bonuses, or dividends. And lastly, we have here is the limited liability company. It is a hybrid business structure that provides the limited legal liability of a corporation and the operational flexibility of a partnership or a sole proprietorship. Many states also allow a business form called the limited liability company or the LLC. Their goal was to distribute income to the partners who reported in on their individual income tax returns, but also to protect themselves from personal liability for the business's debts, as with the corporate business form.
Business management or organization has three forms, which are sole proprietorship, partnership, and corporation. And under corporation, we also have three types of corporation, which are the C corporation, S corporation, and the limited liability company. We hope that you learned a lot about business organization and for our topic for today. We also hope that you enjoy listening to us to our extravaganda presentation. But before we end this agenda, we would like you to be reminded about the quote of Winston Churchill, that success is not final.
Failure is not fatal.
It is the courage to continue
That counts.